Hey, everybody. Michelle is back. January 30th, 2026 on Friday. This is probably a video 11. How about that? I decided to do it this way because of the complexities of this content. And I know chances are some of it will be disseminated and some of it will not. I'm putting it up for entertainment purposes only, though. And that way, it ought to not pose a threat per se. And I'm being naive when I say that. But anyway, I wanted to come on back and get on this topic of transgenderism or transgender people and why they are a consequence. Okay, that doesn't mean that there is anything negative or positive about it. It's a consequence. Now, how you look at it ought to be a red flag as to, okay, this is what the effects are if we don't address a certain issue. Okay, we have two genders, a biological man and a biological woman. The intersex is a part of that. Okay. Now, what else happens after that? That comes with the territory, so to speak. Therefore, what it also means is that a biological woman can love a man or love a woman. A biological man can love a man or love a woman. Intersex can choose however they decide as well, whether they want to love a biological man or a biological woman or someone similar to their intersex. And usually the intersex they present the appearance of either a man or a woman, but it's not a doctor's decision to make, is my point. It's not a family's decision to make, but they do. And they have. And they've ruined lives by doing so. So, however, when it comes to transgender, that's a consequence of overpopulation. Okay? I know that's so difficult for a lot of people to wrap their heads around. But that's the whole idea, though, to keep you confused. It's a massive confusion. Okay? Transgenders are either biological men or biological women, which means they are what? Human beings, too. Irregardless of, they could say, irregardless. Let's keep this direct. Irregardless of whether they are transgender man, transgender woman, they are human beings, and they ought to be treated as such. However, they are not treated as such. They're treated as commodities, whereas they can be fleeced. Because in order for a transgender woman to be satisfied with her transgenderism, meaning what she's thinking in her, and I'll say okay, let's be clear. I'll say she and not be bothered by it. I'll say he and not be bothered by it. Because, a lot of people are doing that with the pronouns. It's just pronouns anyway. Ooh, boy, that feels good drinking that mineral water. Man, it feels good. Let's stay with the transgender female. The transgender female is a biological man who believes he is a woman. But I told you the biological man has no idea what it means to be a biological woman. So he's saying he's a woman when he has no idea what it means to be a woman. Because if he knew what it meant to be a woman, I can guarantee you he'll say, oh, no, I'll pass on that. That's just my assumption. Okay, to be a biological woman is not about the physical. And that's where we're making the tragic mistakes, actually. They're tragic mistakes. As a biological woman, okay, I know the complexities of what this means to be a biological woman. And it's not always pleasant. I told you my menstrual cycle, going through that for, I think, like 40 years. Well, not 40 years, but about 30 years of that pain, that impulse of pain and the bleeding. I wouldn't wish that on anyone. And it's not like I told you, I was constantly bleeding. Okay? Even when my cycle, as they call it, wasn't supposed to be on, because we used to say, well, my menstrual cycle is on, or my period is on. And it's so funny. I don't know how my brothers related to all of that, because there was two girls in the house and 4 boys with my parents. And we had one bathroom to share. So I know that was a nightmare. And I knew, and my brothers, for some reason, it's kind of weird. They were respectful. And that's because how they were raised. That's the only thing I can say. Somehow we managed to share through all of that. I just don't know how. Thankful to my mom and thankful to my father to teach my brothers how to be respectful towards us. Because I can remember being in bed for days crying in agony and pain, and my mom being there attempting to help, but there was nothing she could have done to help. The only time it helped is when I had to have some major surgery done. That was the only way I could have relieved that pain. So all I'm saying is, to be a biological woman is more about our beauty. It really is. It's more about other complexities of what it means to be a biological woman. I couldn't imagine giving vaginal birth. I really could not imagine it. But my mom did it. And, before the C-section. Okay, the C-section is being used to, first of all, it generates more income than a regular vaginal birth. It's all about finances. It's all about greed. And sadly, a lot of women, more specifically, women of all nationalities actually, are dying either during birth of during giving birth to their children, or shortly thereafter, after they've given birth to their children. And a lot of that has to do with, first of all, the primary care doctors. Again, they're focused on cosmetics. They won't admit it, and they're going to get extremely angry when they realize that can be proven. There's evidence of that. It's all about the C-section now, which is a risky, dangerous procedure. The vaginal birth, that's the natural birth canal. It's a birth canal for a reason. They sit, the baby sits in the uterus, and that's where the baby is protected. The placenta is there. What happens to the placenta anyway during C-sections? I think somebody was talking about it, how it's not being used properly. I don't know. I mean, I just think it's all disgusting. Actually, I think it's all disgusting. Woo, that's why I am so thankful I never gave birth to children. I did at one point when I was a young adolescent, developing myself. I thought I wanted 6 children. I was definitely delusional and hallucinating. Definitely. Okay. Yum, yum, yum. So after birth, the placenta is expelled from the uterus during the 3rd stage of labor. It can be delivered naturally or with medical assistance, and some people choose to keep it for various uses, while others have it disposed by medical professions. So it's disposed. Okay. Let's see what it says. After a C-section, the placenta is removed by the surgeon through an incision. Through the incision, cutting, how about that, of the uterus, or in the uterus and abdomen, in the stomach, following the delivery of the baby. The process is part of a surgical procedure to ensure both the mom and the baby are safe and healthy. Is that true, really? Is it true that by cutting the uterus and the abdomen, the stomach, following the delivery of the baby is safe? Is there anything safe about that? And what happens to the placenta? You see? I mean, I'm just reading what people have here. People are not going to, I have no idea. I don't deliver babies. Thankfully. Because if it was up to me, I would have stopped it. I would have stopped births decades ago. There's some complications during C-section. Yes, absolutely. Complications, bleeding, infection, more so if infections, and damage to the surrounding organs. Have you seen what the process of a C-section? And you think a vaginal birth is disgusting? It says they think it helps with postpartum and the recovery and blah, blah, blah. I don't know. I don't know, but I'm saying all these things for the profession, since it's mostly males. I'm telling you, you don't understand the process of what it means to be a biological woman. You know how to deliver babies, fantastic, but women do too, if given the opportunity. That's why there was an increase with midwives and home births, but it's because of the environment, not the process. It's the environment. The environment is filled with bacteria, not that it's not clean, but the surroundings is not infection free, because there's just too many other things to consider. Going into a hospital is probably, that's where you find out where people get the most sepsis, is in the hospitals or nursing homes. Okay, do the research. We have the evidence to prove that. Now, with all that being said, okay, we are not understanding the value and the understanding of what it means to be a biological woman. Okay, and we have these perceptions and we have these projections that we understand what it means to be a biological woman, and that's absolutely false. That's a fallacy. So a lot of transgender women believe that they understand the biological woman, and I can guarantee you don't. You're looking at Diana Ross, what she looked like back in the day. You're looking at them through filters on a screen, filters in a magazine, and now everybody's being exposed. A lot of biological black women are not the commodities as they were, because a lot of them are going natural. They're not wearing makeup by choice. They're doing their hairs a little differently by choice. They're deciding not having children by choice. They're deciding not to be married by choice. So that lowers their capabilities of being a commodity. What can in other words, the medical field, what are they going to make from a biological black woman? So that's why the care is not there anymore. They don't provide the care because they don't see the benefits of that at all. So they cut corners. Okay, they're distracted. They're doing a whole lot of other things that they need to hurry and get this baby out by any means necessary, so that they go on to other stuff, cosmetic or related. I can guarantee it. They rather add parts than to help to deliver healthy babies. But the fact that there are a lot of these factors, like I said, happening with women giving birth, It's because of the infection rate, because of everybody's, because of the amount of population of people, the rushing in, there's not proper cleaning because they don't have time. There's another baby coming out, you got all these babies coming, so they're overwhelmed. I know the doctors and the nurses and the staff and so forth are overwhelmed. They got a waiting room full of people waiting to be seen. It is mind-blowing. So just because just because you call yourself a woman doesn't mean you know what it means to be a woman. Okay? Transgender women are commodities. And once you understand that, I think that will help you to snap out of it and recognize things that are being done to you, which will be done to you for life, may not be healthy for you. Okay? And you won't know that until several years into the future. You realize that you were taking in a type of hormone treatment that you thought was safe for you to do so. And then it's going to turn out that it wasn't safe for you. And so then you're going to get the interference of professionals attempting to take that medication or those hormone treatments away from you. And boy, what devastation that's going to cause. So I'm going to stop right here for that. And I'm going to come back and go a little bit deeper into what it means and what we're going through during these times.